this episode, Tyler rejoins Dude and Brett fresh off his trip to Mexico. Will he have a new shart story to share? Even better, we discuss all this while working our way through a few different expressions of the Blantons. Find out which ones and how we rank them on this episode of the Bourbon Hunters. But before we get started, do you want to support our podcast? Do you like bourbon gear? Visit our website at www.bourbonhunters.com to buy some of our custom bourbon gear and help support the podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. I'm Dude Poe. I'm joined by
Brett Ryan.
And today he is back.
Tyler Fisher.
Yes.
Hey-o.
I've been let out of the house.
That was the sexy intro I wanted to hear right there. So, Tyler, buddy, you're here.
Ugh. Sadly.
I mean, let me ask you this right out of the gates. You went to Mexico. Any short stories?
El Mexico?
Any Montezuma's Revenge?
Yes, definitely. And it's still going.
Really?
It's still going. Yeah.
So it didn't hit you right away.
No.
But since you've been home now.
Since I've been home.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now it's not. Now it's really kind of any food I have. Like
just goes right through you?
Kind of. Yeah.
Liquid exit?
Yeah. But it's more like gas than anything. Like that's the biggest thing. And
with some spray, a little ocean spray.
Yeah, and I don't want to trust anything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're at my house now, so don't trust it.
Yeah, anything that like is remotely like, oh, that could be it. I'm like, can't trust. But really, really funny. My
coming out of the gates hot today.
I was thinking the exact
a coworker.
Same thing.
So we had a long drive from Guadalajara to San Luis, and it's probably 3.5 hours. And man, maybe halfway through, I'm just bubble gutting it, and I'm just like, oh my god. And so he was like, hey, do you want to pull over, and does anyone need to go to the bathroom? I'm like, sure, yeah. And we both go in there, both go to stalls, and it was just like neither of us held back. It was battle shits. But it was 95% fucking air.
Yeah.
But it was like just back and forth. And I was in tears. Like I was trying not to fucking cry.
That's hilarious.
Because both of us just didn't give a shit. We're like, we had to just clear whatever was in our system.
So speaking of that, like I didn't have the terrible shits. My gut was a wreck in Iceland just because it was like a different place. I was eating weird food. But a lot of the bathrooms over there are co-ed. Yeah. So you walk into there's just one bathroom with all individual stalls.
So unisex?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you and I sex?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And like they're better than American stalls where they don't have like where they stop at like your knees.
Yes.
Yeah.
The doors go all the way.
They're like an airline or a fancy steakhouse.
Like the Pearl.
Like the Pearl. They're like that, but
so it's a separate room for each one? Or is it a bathroom with separate stalls?
It's a bathroom with separate stalls.
So not quite like the Pearl.
Correct. Yeah, so you walk into a bathroom and there's separate stalls, and like it's thin like particle board between the two.
But whatever. At least you're not seeing. No one can hang some toilet paper underneath the bottom of the stall.
spare a square type thing.
Spare a square.
And then like it's just like one sink like when you walk out.
But easy to create a glory hole if needed.
Oh, absolutely. Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like while I'm in there, like obviously like taking a dump and whatnot, and I'm like, man, I wonder who's beside me.
Yeah,
that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah,
while you're taking.
What
a
else
dump
would you be thinking about? Well, so it was new to me. So I'm not like a well-traveled European. You know what I mean? So it's just like it was new to me have these like unisex bathrooms.
Huh.
And I'm like,
Well, just be happy you weren't at an Italian rest stop along the side of the highway. It's basically 2 spots for your feet and then a hole in the ground.
Oh, I think it's like that in India too.
There's a few places like that, but Italian rest stops were notorious for that. And so in Italy, when you're going to a good bathroom, whether there's an attendant out in front of it taking tips. So like it's very common for an attendant to be outside of the rest stop in certain like nicer rest areas You go in, use the bathroom, come out, and you tip the attendant.
I always hate that. Like those
Not like an American.
But in the American ones,
Like
I
this
hate
is
that.
this is a full-on job in other countries.
How would you like
Europe.
that in America? Like where you're the guy and they're just smelling everyone's farts all night long.
At a rest
taking
area,
tips.
at a rest stop, I would be more than happy to pay a rest stop attendant if that meant the rest stop was clean.
Yeah.
Because most
for
rest
sure.
stops are just a train wreck.
Yeah.
So
What do we have on the list today?
we haven't talked about anything, have we?
Just farts.
I know we talked about it last week, what we were doing.
Yeah.
This week we are doing a Blantons episode. So Tyler has a Blanton straight from the barrel. I have a Blanton's Gold. And then I also have a regular Blanton's. We're going to go through those three. Jeff was not able to make it tonight. He had a Japanese Blanton's.
Yeah,
And another straight from the barrel.
Yeah, I think a European.
No, he had a Japanese and a straight from the barrel is what he had.
That's it? I
Yeah.
thought he had a Polish one, maybe.
No, that's you're thinking
Jason
of
has
Jason.
that Polish. We had that Polish one from him.
But Chris also, the Flying Buckeye, was not able to make it, and he also had another straight from the barrel. We had a pretty good lineup set for tonight, but 2 people had to cancel. So
It's still a decent lineup.
no, it's a good lineup. I mean, if you're into Blantons. All right, so we've got standard Blantons. This is available to the 3 of us here. It's already poured out, Tyler, so grab your bottle, or your glass, I should say. Brett, grab your glass. Let's do some sniffy sniffs and get into this. This is from 2021. This was dumped on September 14th of 2021.
You take that one. It's a little heavier.
It is 93 proof, such as all regular Blantons. Blantons are all single barrels. So I don't know if a lot of people know that, but they're all single barrels, which...
The original single barrel.
Yeah, so they're all single barrels. The interesting thing is, like, store picks are single barrels too, so that's kind of an interesting thing. But while you guys start nosing, and then when we come back from the nosing, I'll start to give a little bit of.
On that.
I'll give a little bit of history on Blantons, and we'll get into that and talk about it a little bit more.
This is a classic bourbon, like a vanilla caramel,
The thing I like about Blantons, I know
no
Blantons.
ethanol.
Listen, Blantons takes a lot of shit. The one thing I will say about Blantons is I've never paid more than retail for Blantons.
Yeah.
I've gotten them either here in Ohio.
Even the gold.
Well, I didn't pay for that. That was a gift.
That
from
was
you
a
guys.
gift.
Yeah. So,
But the other one.
the one I won in the OHLQ, is actually retail. So
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I think my first Blantons I paid over retail because I just wanted one.
I've never.
So my first one, but it wasn't crazy. I think it was 100 maybe.
And by the way, shout out to Stadium Market.
That's where you got your straight from the barrel.
Yep.
Nice. Did they hold that back for you, or just let you know when it was coming in, or what?
Yeah. Just let me know that they had managed to get one, and
That's the nice thing about
They
the
only had one.
That's
Yeah.
the nice thing about the like the OHLQ,
yeah.
like states, like control states, places like Michigan that are secondary type markets. They can charge whatever they want. They also can hold stuff back for good customers and stuff if they want to. So that's kind of a neat thing about that. If you build that relationship up with your liquor store agent or owner or whatever, a lot of times you can get some things that wouldn't normally be, coming your way. If you just build that relationship, shop at the same place all the time, and build up that relationship, talk to the owner, stuff like that. That's how most people get their stuff.
sure.
Especially in the non-control states. Like in a control state like Ohio, they're not allowed
to
pull stuff back and hold it for people. They're just not allowed to do it. If they do and they get caught, they can lose their liquor license.
Sure.
Or be penalized or whatever.
Penalized.
Penalized. They can be penalized.
Penalized.
What are you guys getting on the nose on this? That's but what I was going to say is the one thing, Blanton's takes a lot of crap because of the secondary prices. Mm-hmm. I personally think at $57, it's a good bourbon.
Agree.
So I will say I have not checked up on the secondary price a lot. Now, the secondary price from the shelf price is going to be vastly different. If you see a Blanton on the shelf somewhere, you're probably going to pay $200 for it.
That's what I mean.
But at the secondary, it's really only like most of really what I've seen is 100 to 120.
Yeah, but my point is
there's
still
worse.
still not worth that price
No.
unless you're trying to complete your collection,
Sure.
something like that.
But
Or if you've never had a Blanton's before and you just want to get
But
one.
it's actually way better than like Elmer T. Lee. the markup of Elmer T. Lee, the markup of
Well, that's the interesting.
Weller 12.
That's the interesting thing about all the Buffalo Trace products, and a lot of people complain that their pricing model is what leads to secondary prices because they're so cheap.
Yeah. So I'll say of everything, I think Bland's is the least marked up when you see it secondarily.
Potentially, I could see that, but it's more readily available than those other things. Mm-hmm. At least in Ohio. Yeah. I mean, it comes out every couple weeks in Ohio at all of our liquor stores.
Yeah.
We get a lot of it.
I think they end up in other states.
They do, but that's just the way it is in Ohio. People come across the state or across the border and buy them and then sell them or trade them or whatever. Yeah. Okay, so basically Blantons. All right, did you guys give any noses on this?
I gave nosing. To me, it's a very traditional bourbon. It's very like caramel,
is this
vanilla.
Is this a little more floral than?
I don't get as much vanilla on the nose.
Yeah.
Which is when I know it's going to be a good Blanton's bottle is I get a ton of vanilla on the nose. This is a little more floral. Maybe some caramel. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So I would say this isn't ranking up there for me in noses,
No. Taste it too.
I will in just a second. I'm going to talk about this first. So, Colonel Blanton. So, he's the guy this is named after, Colonel Albert B. Blanton. He was the president of the distillery until 1952. Elmer T. Lee was tasked with creating some new product, basically. And he knew that Blanton would basically go in when they were housing or hosting dignitaries and other important types of guests, and he would handpick bottles from these, what they called honey barrels at the time. So it was, and it generally seemed to be from warehouse age, and they would just bottle, one barrel at a time. So as a tribute to Colonel Blanton, Elmer T. Lee decided to name the new bourbon that he came up with Blanton's Single Barrel. So along with that tradition, they basically were picking barrels from warehouse age that tasted really good, or what they called honey barrels, and they would do a single barrel of each one. So because of that, there will be a little bit of variance. So you'll notice like two bottles next to each other will be different, vastly different sometimes. Like for example, when we were at AJ's wedding, the first bottle of Blanton's we opened was just absolutely ridiculous. It was a vanilla bomb. It was so good. We had people coming back to taste it because they were just like, "Holy cow! I've never had a Blanton's this good." Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, it was like a 2019 bottle date or something like that.
Yeah, it was older. For sure.
It was older. And I accidentally included that from my collection. If I would have known, I would have never. Because that's just the 2019, 2018.
But it was a good cause.
It was. It was
a good cause.
I know. In hindsight, it was such a good. But if I would have known, if I would have thought about it ahead of time, I would have never included a 2019. I've got other 21 and 22s here. Yeah. Only because, and this is why I say this, Tyler, is because the people that were at that wedding weren't going to be able to notice the difference.
Right.
Sure.
You and I, Brett, we can tell the difference. But I was, not that it's wasted because they all thought it was really good.
Sure.
But even Todd Sarver from the Cows group, he was at the wedding.
Oh, nice.
He came in and tasted that and was like, "Holy cow, this is a good bottle of Blanton's."
Sure.
He couldn't believe. And then he also tasted our
Middle West pick.
Pick,
nice.
And he was like, "Damn, this is good."
Nice.
He couldn't believe how good that was.
If we got the Todd Sarver stamp of approval, I'll take that.
Approval, we did. So let's go ahead and taste this. What do you guys think on the palate?
This is really good. I don't know why this is tasting so good to me.
Oh wow,
it's good. I don't know that it's within.
It's not as good as the
profile.
It is, but it's not as probably not the right word. It's not as boisterous of a vanilla bomb, that you get from a good bottle of Blanton's. This is a decent bottle of Blanton's. What did I say this was? 2021.
I forget
bottling. What did I say? This is from 21. September 14th, 2021 is when this was bottled. So, according to Jason from the Mash and Drum, he claims that there's a lot of people that say that the Blantons used to be 6 to 8 years, and now it's more like 5 to 6 or 4 to 6.
4 to 6,
some
I think is what he said. Some of them, yeah. Which is crazy to me.
Well, that is crazy, but it is noticeable. If you get some Blanton's bottles, you can tell they have a floral, like a youthful kind of taste to them. And
you said a floral note
on the nose. I don't know that I get that on the palate though.
This definitely is not as good as the one we had at AJ's wedding, but it is good. I agree with you, Brett. Now, full disclosure here, we had as a primer, we had some Elmer T. Lee.
This finishes longer than normal blends. That's
Maybe
what it is.
why
I
like
think it is.
Maybe I like it because of finish.
That could be the reason. Yeah.
It sticks on there.
How would you say this compares to the Elmer T. Lee we just had?
I mean, I hate to say they're comparable, but I'd say the Elmer T. Lee inches out for me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I mean, but it's 100 proof for one.
Yeah.
And we always 100 proof is kind of like our,
it's a good
it's a good starter or barometer, for proofs. I feel like. This is 93 proof, so it's close. It's not like it's 80 proof or whatever, but this is a pretty good proof.
Sure.
For a bourbon, especially for just something you're going to sip on or whatever. I would never be upset. I don't know that I've ever had a Blanton's that I thought was a bad bottle.
No.
And I don't think they allow that.
I'm the least Blanton's hater of anyone. I'm not a tater. I don't go crazy for it, but
you definitely talk about Blanton's a lot.
Yeah.
To the point where even Jason will say something like, "Oh, we're going to talk about Blanton's all night," that kind of thing.
No, I feel. I think I talk about it more in the sense of just defending it. There's a handful.
I defend it too until we talk secondary prices.
Sure.
As soon as you get out, and generally speaking, when I'm talking about a bourbon, I'm talking about MSRP. We're a little spoiled here in Ohio for MSRP. Now, we don't get everything. We don't get full proof unless it's lottery. We don't get 12-year unless it's lottery. We don't get Pappies unless it's lottery. But when we get them, they're MSRP.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure those that have access to even better bottles would have that and be like, why are we even talking about this? And I get that in the sense of context. When you have an insane collection, you're probably like...
But those people are generally paying more for those bottles.
Yeah.
So in that context, they could be sitting here thinking about Blanton's and say it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And I know another podcast, Buckhorn Podcast, for the 5 of you that may listen to that, they talk about Blanton's, rip on it all the time, and they say it's just not worth it. But I think it's a $57
Yeah, why would you
bottle.
not pay $57 for that?
Right.
I would.
I mean, are there better bottles for the same price? Depending on your palate, probably.
Yeah.
Some Old Forester Whiskey Row series, some of those things are around that same price,
but
people
sometimes,
prefer those.
Yeah, but sometimes those are not a unique... I wouldn't say that you have to have a unique taste to like those, but, I mean, if you like Old Forester's profile, you'll probably lean towards that. But if you're newer to bourbon or you just like if you just want something that's a really easy drinker, you're gonna choose that.
This is a very non-discriminating bottle of bourbon.
Yeah.
So you think about things like this, Angel's Envy.
Yeah.
They're
Makers.
Good. Yeah, Makers, or even like Woodford Double Oaked.
Yep.
Things like that are very easy to get people introduced and interested in bourbon. This is one of those things.
Sure.
I think.
Sure.
And
it's a cool bottle.
It's in John Wick.
Yeah. Well,
and I think it's in all 4 of the movies. I think
it might be. I don't know.
I know it's in Chapter 4, but it was like the Japanese version. It wasn't the regular label.
Chapter 4.
But it was definitely in.
It's a cool bottle, right? Whoever the product designer was that came up with that, kudos to you. I hope you got a giant bonus.
No, it's a cool bottle.
It's a cool
probably
bottle.
the coolest bottle in all of whiskey.
Yeah, I was trying to think in my mind if there was something that I really liked.
It's got a horsey top, man.
That Caribou Crossing, I don't know.
It's
That's
close,
pretty freaking cool.
But it's just a square bottle with a caribou on top.
I'm kidding.
And that's Tyler's favorite whiskey.
That's why I wanted to see if he was listening.
No, it's not. JD keeps going, hey, I got some Caribou Crossing for you if you want to try it. I'm like, fuck no.
You can take that caribou and shove it up your ass.
Yeah. Plus, at the end of the day, we're talking about a single barrel.
Yeah. Well, caribou is also
various.
Yeah, but there's a
saying.
lot of stuff that if you compare it to in price, that are not single barrels.
True.
That's a good point.
Yeah, So that variety, you're basically almost getting a store pick with every one.
Yeah.
And which, think about that. You're basically, it's like people go out of their way to buy Blanton store picks. And I'm like,
You already
every one of them's a single. It's like, but we do the same thing with Russell's.
Yeah.
Russell single barrel is a shelfer, but then we go out of our way to buy store picks from Bourbon Enthusiast or from Mash and Drum or Mash and Journey, I should say. So I mean, it's not much different. I mean, we get caught up in that hype too.
Sure.
But I think that's a little different for us because we know we agree primarily with Mash and Journey's
there's also
and Bourbon Enthusiast palate.
There's also more fluctuation in taste, I think, with those barrels than these.
Well, yes. And when I say I agree with that, but with the caveat of I feel like there's always that underlying base profile that's there.
Yeah, just like Old Forester.
And then it's almost like they have branches off of that standard profile, which I think is what pulls people to those things.
Yeah.
Like with the Russells, you're always getting a similar Russell's base profile, but then some slight variation to it, which is cool.
Yeah.
Blanton's is kind of the same way. There's a base profile to it. Vanilla, to me, how much vanilla is there is what makes it Blanton's, in my opinion. A good Blanton's versus a air quotes bad Blanton's.
Right.
That's how you use
if
air
it's a
quotes.
vanilla, if it's a vanilla bomb, then
Gas station.
You said
let's
fuel station.
Let's do gold now.
Yeah.
Let's do gold now.
Well, let me
like
finish.
gold.
Let me finish my freaking regular.
No, you got to save it to compare it.
I don't have to do shit.
Yeah,
I
you
can
do.
pour a little bit more if I want to. It's my
I
Blanton's.
saved a little bit, Tyler.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
So it's because I don't want to pour any more.
all right,
Because
you have to drive home.
yeah.
So pour out some Blanton's and fucking Brett. While you're
Yeah.
pouring
Do
out,
I have to pour him again?
I got a good story. You guys are gonna like.
you're going to
this.
tell your story after I tell mine.
Okay.
In between the gold and the straight from the barrel.
Okay.
So my story, while he's pouring these out, 2 weeks ago I was invited with Mash and Drum to go to Oklahoma City and visit the Whiskey Vault, which is basically arguably the largest whiskey collection in North America, United States. He claims he thinks for sure top 10 in the world.
Wow. It's a bold
And
statement.
he thinks at least top 5 in the U.S., if not the biggest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big ass collection.
Private?
It's private. Now, this guy, I was at his work office, and he has a whiskey vault at the work office, which is about a third of his collection. His
pretty
collection's 7,500 bottles.
Wow.
How do you have to have a catalog, like a
He does.
duodecimal system?
He has a catalog. It's all inventoried and cataloged out and insured.
Oh wow.
What's the proof on the gold, by the way?
103.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's hard to read.
Yeah, it's gold on no label.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 7,500 bottles. Now, so this is the thing I didn't know when I was going. So I was invited to go out to help man the cameras and stuff. So if you're interested in this story, it's a pretty cool story. It was a really good interview. It's a 2-part interview. The first part of the interview was Jason basically interviewing this guy. His name's Dwayne Pour.
P-O-U-R?
No, but that would
I was like, how cool would that be?
It was P-O-O-R, but P-O-U-R would have been awesome.
Yeah.
So his name's Dwayne Pour. He lives in Oklahoma City, and the first part of it is Jason interviewing him. They're sitting there drinking. The big thing about his whiskey collection is it's mostly Scotch, and holy shit, he has some serious Scotch. I'm throwing out numbers. I'm making these up, but I'm pretty sure they're accurate. He had some like Scotch that was like barreled in 1897,
Jesus,
bottled in like 1920, that type of stuff. Like that's the stuff he had. He had special bottles that were like 2 of in the world.
Wow.
That were like, they made it maybe for a celebrity, made a special blend, and thought, oh, Dwayne would like a bottle of this, and they send him a bottle.
Wow.
There have been distillers that go to his whiskey vault and have tasted things from their own distillery they've never had before. That's his collection.
Wow.
Like he's going through his collection. He's like, oh yeah, that's a $30,000 bottle. That's a $40,000 bottle. This is a
What does this guy do for
that
a
he
living?
bought for like $200 back in 1989. But now it's like seriously. I mean, crazy.
Is most of his stuff from collecting before anyone did it?
A lot of it is, but a lot of it is stuff that has been given to him from the distilleries.
Yeah.
Like there's this. It's just crazy stuff. But yes, he buys stuff. He finds stuff, buys it. He's got a friend who's a liquor store owner who knows when something interesting comes in. He just charges it to his Amex and sends it to him.
Oh,
I
that's funny.
Googled this guy really quick. It says his whiskey collection is worth several million. I thought it said 7 million.
It
says several million dollars.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like $10 million.
Yeah.
Honest to God. I mean, the whiskey collection at his vault was just a third of his collection, and it was insane. Like Jason, who is a huge Scotch guy, is geeking out. Like he's looking through and he's like, "Oh my gosh, he has this," and then he'd settle down and he'd move over a little bit. "Oh my gosh, he has it was constant."
I would have enjoyed watching Jason.
It was
getting
really
excited,
cool. And he did. He got so excited. I mean, this was like his Graceland. And so he's sitting there and he recognized there was a brand there. The first day we got to set up and preview this thing. The second day we did the interview. First day he's looking around and Dwayne wasn't there the first day. And he's like, "Oh my God, they have a rose bank." And I'm like, "I don't know what the fuck a rose bank is, whatever." So apparently it's like a distillery that went defunct in 1993. And so he had some stuff from that.
Wow.
And so he's sitting there talking about it on the day of the interview, and Dwayne's like, "Well," and he just pulls out a bottle. And it's from a company that went and bought sourced barrels from them after they went out of business. So barreled in 91, and they bottled them like in 2005 or something like that.
Wow.
And so 12 years after the company went out of business, it's kind of like, when Pappy or Julian Van Winkle is buying bottles from Diageo that were previously Stitzel Weller, right?
Sure.
And releasing them as Pappy. So it's kind of a similar thing. They're buying these barrels from a defunct, distillery, and then they're bottling them under their, it's like Signatory or something like that brand.
Sure.
And but it was basically Rosebank. And so he just opens it because he recognized that Jason was as big of a Scotch fan as he is. So he was like, "Oh, let's just open this." And we're sitting there drinking this. And I don't like Scotch, but this was really good Scotch. Had a very, very fruity kind of Scotch flavor.
Was there anything... You like Scotch more than I do.
Oh, I don't like any Isla Scotches.
Yeah.
That peat, I hate it.
Was there anything that you were like, "Hey, I'm not going to appreciate this"?
Yes. And I didn't drink it.
Yeah.
A couple things, yeah. One of them was like a Lafroy 30 year or something like that.
So he wasn't like, "Hey,
I smelled it and I was like, nope, not drinking it. Not drinking it. A couple of them. Yeah, there was a couple like that.
Props to you for doing that.
Yeah, props to you. But I'm also like, I was curious.
But
if they,
here's the thing: I was
"Just
behind
try
the
it."
scenes. I was not in the interview. I was not. I was not on camera at all. So a lot of this was offered after, like in between type, like pauses and stuff like that. He would hand it out to us, and there were a couple I was just like, "Yeah, I'm not drinking that."
Yeah.
I just can't get past that peat, that iodine, that
Sure.
Band-Aid tin, from growing up. That's what it tastes like to me.
Yep.
So I just can't get past that. But there were some that I tried that I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And I'd nose it. And I'm like, oh, all right, this smells actually pretty good. And then I was like, damn, this is really good.
Yeah. What about any bourbon?
So this is his thing. He says he buys bourbon to sell bourbon to buy Scotch.
Okay.
But he has Pappy flights from Stitzel Weller era.
Wow.
He has crazy collection of he has a crazy collection of bourbon.
Yeah.
But Scotch is his main thing. But his collection of bourbon is outstanding. Like the Orphan Barrel series.
Yep.
He has all of them. He has like 3 or 4 complete sets of the Orphan Barrel series.
Yeah.
Including the Prophecy, I think it is, bottle, which is basically Stag.
Yeah.
And it's I think Jason was trying to get a bottle from him. If he's like, I mean, this guy, like, that's what he does. He's like, he'll sell it. And he's like, I have Pappy. And he's like, it's good and everything. But he's like, people are willing to pay ridiculous amounts for it. So I'll sell it to them. And then I'll go buy Scotch.
Sure.
And so, like his Scotch collection, it's worth millions. You're right, 100% worth millions.
It's wild.
And so, like I said, a third of his collection was at this office, his office, and then his home. He has like a bunker and a speakeasy, and then a warehouse outside of his house at another location where the rest of his, bourbon or whiskey is stored. And so he says he has 7,500 bottles, 5,000 unique bottles.
Jesus.
7,500 if you include duplicates. So like he's got a couple of like 2s and 3s of certain things, but unique bottles 5,000.
Wow.
And he's got a whole bunch of 1-ofs, 2-ofs, that type of thing, like 2 of 2, or he's got some where he had 2 of 5. And then he drank 1 of the 2, so there's now he has 1 of 4.
Yeah,
So he funny. just by drinking 1 of them, he's now 25% instead of
Think about
40.
having that many bottles. There could be things you wouldn't even taste.
Well,
like
that's what he says.
things.
He says, listen, his intention is to drink it, but at the same time, it's to collect it. And some of the stuff he buys, he knows he's probably never going to open, and he is collecting it, and it is an investment.
So what's his plan?
I think it is to sell it at some point, maybe, or to hand it down. But like basically, at this point, I don't think he needs to sell it. I think he's at a point in his life where he's doing fine for himself, and he doesn't need to sell it. But I think if he could sell it all for $10 million and then retire, he probably would. But I don't think he wants to. He enjoys
it.
He's had distillers coming over from Scotland to sit down and do tastings at his vault.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
And because of that, he gets invited, or when he's in Scotland, they roll out the red carpet for him, and they start breaking into casks and, doing what you would love to do at like Wild Turkey, or, where they just, oh, hey, if Eddie Russell would come out and say, oh, Tyler, you're here. Let's go out and into this warehouse and start drinking out of these casks.
Yeah.
So
when you sell that, you lose that. When
sell his collection
potentially. But I think his name in the industry is, at least in Scotland, is well enough known that he could probably sell it all and then still be invited to do stuff. I mean,
I can see that.
Potentially. I mean, he's.
I think if he sells to anyone, I think the coolest thing would be like, again, a whiskey library like Bardstown. Or reaching out to the distilleries and sitting there saying, hey, I want to get rid of this. Have it part of your museum. It's
interesting you say that, because the reason we were brought in is there's a group called Bourbon Heads that is think about no soliciting.
Sure.
You pay $2,000 a year and you get to go in and you get to experience this speakeasy and all that stuff. Their idea is $2,500 one time, lifetime membership, 1,500 total memberships, and that's it. Once they reach 1,500, they cut it off. So $2,500 times $1,500, they spend, or 1,500 members, they spend that money towards buying bourbon, opening up a speakeasy in Louisville, and basically like a club location in Louisville. That front of the house is a regular bar, back of the house is members only.
Yeah.
Front of the bar raises money towards their group.
Sure.
And the idea with this group is to basically own the largest bourbon collection in the world as a group. So let's say you are one of the 1,500 people that bought a $2,500 membership.
Yeah.
And then let's just say 10 years from now, you take the amount of money that group is worth and divide it by 1,500, and let's just say that it's a $5,000 value now. You can sell off your membership to someone else. So think about it like a hedge fund.
Yeah.
With these membership perks where you can go to these speakeasies in Louisville.
$2,500 wouldn't be bad.
No, not as a one-time purchase.
I agree.
Do you pay for the drinks once you're there though?
So
soliciting?
So the caveat is you get access to the speakeasy in the back of their clubs, and they're going to open more around the country as they get more money. But they're already building the one in Louisville. And so you go into Louisville, and it's all NFT based. So it can't be counterfeited, and you can show immediately that you are a member and then get into the back room. And then when you get into the back room, you get access to potential like really nice pours for MSRP pour prices, basically.
Cool.
So you can get Pappy for $200 divided by 24 per pour.
Well, that's nice.
Instead of $100 a pour,
Right.
like you would at a regular restaurant.
That's cool. That's nice. Should we dive into this one now?
I think so, yeah.
Similar notes.
Yeah.
If
I
you were
agree.
to take the first nose and concentrate it,
Yeah, that's what I think that's a good description, yeah. I agree.
Again, more floral.
It is a little more floral.
this is Blanton's Gold, by the way, for people listening.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm getting
And you said it was what, 103 proof?
Yes.
honey on the nose, but maybe some
Ooh.
sort of nectar.
No, I think
honey's a good-
nectar or honey. That's a good nectar's a good word. I'm going to lean towards nectar because I don't think we've ever used it before.
I don't think I
Yeah.
have either.
No, that was good, Tyler. Where'd you pull that from?
Yeah, seriously. It's like, where have you been for the last 3 weeks?
Just 3?
Well, in podcast time, it's been like 2 months.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. Let's take a drink of this.
Ooh. The proof sits perfect in that.
Oh yeah, that's a good. We've done this on the episodes before. I think on my birthday episode that one time when you guys gave it to me and I didn't even realize you were getting it. That was
Oh, yeah.
one of
Oh,
my.
yeah.
By the way, that was one of my better birthday gifts I've ever had.
Really?
So, yeah.
Glad you enjoyed it.
No, I mean honestly,
I'm
that
glad
was
that we're enjoying it.
for one because it was unexpected. I did not expect you guys to get me anything. That was cool. So that was a neat gift. And then for two, because it was Blanton's Gold. Like at the time when you got it for me, this has been 2 years ago now. I think 2 birthdays ago, I should say. So
Yeah.
I was not expecting it, and I'd never had a Blanton's Gold, so it was kind of a neat gift.
There's almost like a maple syrup on the end of this.
Yes, it's a dark sweet.
Yeah.
Like
Like a
Oh, yeah.
molasses maple syrup
Yeah.
kind of.
I like it though.
It's very. Oh no, I'm not complaining.
no,
It's
no,
very
I didn't
good.
think you were. I was just clarifying. I was just clarifying.
clarifying
Great,
it.
great in an old fashioned.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Blanton's Golden and old fashioned. Could you imagine?
So I went to
That'd be funny.
It's not a new bar, but it was the first time I had been there. It's called the Daily Bar. It's in the Italian Village on 4th Street.
so close to Quinn's bar.
I don't know where.
Well, he's in Italian Village.
Yeah, he is.
He's more Zeno's though is more
Further north,
campus
probably.
though
Yeah.
to me.
Okay.
So this would
It
be
is,
more.
probably.
This is closer to like Seven Sun Brewing and like Hoof Hearted.
Oh, yeah.
If you know where
Okay.
that is. But on their menu they had a Buffalo Old Fashioned, and I'm like, what's a Buffalo Old Fashioned? He's like, we just make it with Buffalo Trace. He's like, it pisses everybody off that we're making it with Buffalo Trace.
Why?
And I told him, I was like,
Buffalo
well,
Trace
actually,
is like a $26 bottle of bourbon.
I said, if you go to the distillery, they tell you it is their mixer. Like, that's what it was designed for.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, I'll take one, please. It was really good.
I'll take one, please.
That's fine. I'll take one, please.
They have a cool thing on Sundays, too, where your first drink is $1 off. Your second drink is $2 off. Your third drink is $3 off.
What's the fourth one?
Free.
Whoa.
So that's cool, right?
Yeah.
If you want to get blitzed, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool.
So
Where is this?
It's called the Daily Bar, and it's on 4th Street in the
Take Trina
Italian
there
Village.
this weekend.
Yeah. I thought that was
Getting
that's
bullets.
that deal is only on
so
Sundays.
what are their drink prices?
Are
Are they reasonable?
I think it was $12 for an
Oh,
old fashioned.
That's like a
So then it's 11.
It's
and
like
then
a sore
10,
penis.
and then it's 9, and
Listen.
then it's free.
So
in Columbus, if you can find a mixed drink for less than 13,
yeah,
that's like a sore penis. It's hard to beat.
hard to beat. Speaking of
was
awesome,
good, too. It really
awesome
was.
deals. My buddy lives in Nashville, and
This is very good.
you know how in other cities there's always bars of sports teams from like away teams.
From away teams. Yeah.
So he found the Lions bar.
Real quick.
And-
Real quick. 2007, I started my new job at Accordant out in California. They're playing Florida in the national championship.
I remember that game.
So all of my work buddies know that I'm from Ohio. They're like, hey, let's go to this bar. It happens to be a Florida fucking bar in California. As I'm leaving, after we got our asses handed to us 41-14, I'm walking a block away. There's an Ohio State bar. I was like, motherfuckers. I was so mad because there was like Ohio State everything.
Yeah.
Just, Anyway, go ahead. Lions.
So he went to the Lions, Detroit Lions. They had half off wings. They had a bunch of other drink deals. But for every touchdown scored, they got a free shot.
That's
Dude,
cool.
They scored 42 fucking points.
That's hilarious.
Six.
Dude, he was fucking hammered.
Well, did you read the article about the person who, what was it they did? Oh, they were watching the Jets play the Kansas City Chiefs. And they did a shot for every time Taylor Swift was shown on TV. And he got kicked off the airplane because he was trashed.
Oh,
that's hilarious.
Completely trashed. So he was doing this at the bar at the airport before he got on the plane. When he got on the plane, he got kicked off because he was trashed.
There's so many people that are like invested in that, and there's so many people that are like, I don't want to hear any more about this. I hate it. I saw a funny one too where like Taylor Swift had like a scuff on her knee or something, and it's like she's putting in work already. It was great. Like they like zoom in on it.
Let's do the
Tyler, you're pouring this.
Yeah, let's do the. Here, let me move this. Is this your first one?
It should be, I think.
So while I'm pouring this,
I switched back to the original Blantons just so I can because I saved some to
just
taste.
rearrange the furniture if you need to, Tyler. You do.
God forbid you move. Just pull the whole table to you.
Right, just move the whole fucking table towards you.
One, the straight from the barrel comes with a bomb leather.
Yeah, I actually like the leather bag for that better
that
than
bag?
the velvet bag you get for the gold.
This is real leather too.
The
right.
gold bag is just a velvet bag.
Yeah. I didn't know if this would be real leather or not, but it is.
So
It smells like real
again-
leather.
Sniff it.
I did. Yeah.
Sniff it.
Yeah.
Sniff it.
So again, this is from Stadium Market.
Yeah.
Not that this was picked by them.
You have to save this bag when that bottle's empty. You know that.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Okay.
And hopefully, I mean, it's already coming up on a half full or half empty. So hopefully,
Which is the Tyler? Is your bottle half empty or half full?
So this is bottle 126 of the barrel. I'm guessing. It is 133.3 proof.
Oh fuck.
Yes.
What is it?
133.3.
133.
Yes.
That's pretty high.
Yes.
I wonder how that compares to other straight from the barrels.
So reading everything dumped on 7/5/22.
Oh,
So it's a year.
that's a bad day for that bottle if it got dumped on that day.
Why 7.5?
He's just being stupid.
Dumped.
From
Relationship.
barrel number
Oh,
1565, warehouse H.
Damn it, Brett.
I did. I was like,
You're
trying
in
to
the
think
medical profession. I expect more out of
I
you.
was trying to think of the significance of the date. Go ahead, Tyler.
Warehouse H, and for whatever reason, I don't know why it says our Rick number 27. I don't know what.
That's
Red
probably
number?
it's probably a fucking reference to somewhere in Warehouse H.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, I don't know this. I'm sure someone knows this. I know there's a Blanton's warehouse, but gold, regular, straight from the barrel, do they all come from the same rick house?
They're supposed to.
Okay.
Supposedly, allegedly,
Allegedly.
there is.
Jesus Christ, Tyler.
Holy shit.
That's going to dude.
I'm fine with that. Allegedly, there has been some chatter that some Blanton's bottles have come from outside of Rickhouse Age because of the pure volume that they are pumping out. I don't know how true that is.
What if I just dropped that?
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Sucking up
Please,
the carpet.
please. Holy fuck.
That's what I said.
Sorry, you can put some in a.
In my mouth? Because that's where it's going.
Yeah.
Damn, man.
So, my story.
Which is like the fourth
No,
story
no,
that you've
no.
told so far.
No, absolutely not.
It is absolutely yes.
Yesterday, I have to tell you this story about my neighbor because
Oh, yeah.
it caught me off fucking guard so much. Jillian was still at work. I get home with both kids. Mind you, I have a 2.5-year-old and a 6-month-old. Right. I take the baby inside. He's still in a stroller. Set him down. Set all of any bags or anything I have down. And I come back out because Carter was refusing to come in, and I'm trying to get him. And my neighbor across the street pulls up. She's walking to her mailbox, grabs her mail, and she's like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." She's like, "Hey, I've just noticed, like, when I come outside, you know, you guys always like, or whenever we come outside, you guys always go inside." She's like, "I just want to make sure we didn't do anything to you guys. Like, I mean, we've lived in our house for 5 years.
Yeah.
We haven't talked."
And they've been there the whole time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they've been there the whole time. They've probably been there since the neighborhood inception, you know, maybe 20 years ago or so.
Okay.
And I'm just like, you know, no, like legitimately, no, we've never had a problem with them. They're not like,
Like I have 2 young kids. I'm like just trying to get in the house.
I'm like, you know, my wife owns her own business. You know, I travel a lot. The 2 kids are here. She's like, yeah, just especially like your wife. Like, whenever I come out, like she'll be outside, or you know, they'll be outside with your kid, and then she just goes right in. And I'm like, I promise you, she does not care, like, at all. You know, there's no issues. And it sucked because I was like outside with this lady for like 10 minutes, and my kid's just in his stroller inside waiting for me.
Oh God.
Yeah, or in his car seat. But I was just like, holy shit. I appreciate her, like, if she felt that way to ask, to be like, did we do anything? And she meant nothing weird of it. She's just like, hey, we've been neighbors 5 years and we really haven't communicated.
I don't talk to either of my neighbors. It makes you feel better.
But they don't have any kids. They never had kids.
I just don't like my neighbors.
He's the Santa Claus in the neighborhood come Christmas time. Like, they do a whole thing, and he looks like Santa Claus. He looks identical to him. But like any other time, really, and we love that. You know, I told her, I was like, we're super happy. The kids are happy. But they're not, when they're outside, they're not, it's not like they're inviting either. You know what I mean? They're not like, hey guys, how's it going? Like, I'm the one that's like, how's it going? I'll wave, and they're like, hey. You know, so
I do that sometimes to one neighbor. I'm like, hi.
I found it odd that, you know, of all the times that I've said, hey, how are you? Hi. And that's what kind of sparked it. She was walking to her mailbox. I'm like, hey, how's it going? How are you? She's like, good. How are you? Like, so I'm always the one to kind of initiate
the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I don't know what she's expecting. Like, she's expecting me to like crack a couple of beers, walk them over, and
so if she's older, it sounds
your
like
keys in a fishbowl is what I'm thinking.
If she's
they're older.
I think that it comes from, so like growing up, my neighbors used to babysit us, right? And we were always at the neighbor's home. Like, I just think it's like different times now, and so she's probably used to a different time where your neighbors were like good friends of yours, where my neighbors aren't my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not.
Well, and I also told her, I was like, there's not a ton of kids on this street. There is this street behind us. There's like 5,000 fucking kids. But on our street, like my next door neighbor, they have little kids. They're a little bit older, but they do. And now finally my son starts to play with them. And then Caddy Corner, they have some... They have.
I love that you say catty corner and not kitty corner. I can't stand when people say kitty corner.
I've never heard kitty corner.
I have too, but I also have to like distinctly say that in my head. Like, it's catty. Not kitty corner. It's catty corner.
I've never even heard
who
kitty
says
corner.
kitty corner.
Weirdos.
Tony
from the gym. Tony.
Yes, he
that's
says kitty corner.
disappointing.
But he's from Iowa. I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
So you were talking about Santas.
Yeah.
I literally today.
That's your goal, right? Is to become a Santa when you get older?
No, my beard's gonna get trimmed down. I grew this out for Iceland to like be warm.
And to look like one of them.
No, just I didn't know how cold it would be.
Skull.
It helps. What grown ass man is like, come here, little kid, sit on my lap. Like, Santa's freak me out. I'm sorry.
So
that's a weird, creepy thing.
Hold on.
I don't know.
Wait.
I think
that's... Stop.
I'm in the middle of this.
Wait. I could see now people using a Santa Claus job as a way to get kids to sit on their lap. But listen, traditionally, like, I feel like, and I could be way wrong on this, but I feel like that stuff has gotten worse in the last, 20 years. I think that was very...
Do I think there are some genuine people out there that are kind-hearted?
But I think that 20 years ago and before, that was a very, very whatever.
It's like the Easter Bunny and all that.
It was a very innocent thing.
Yeah.
and just another way for someone who potentially looks like Santa Claus to make some money over the holidays.
Yeah.
I think nowadays, I think you're right. Because they can throw on those white curly bullshit beards.
Yeah,
that
they
aren't
don't
real,
look like Santa.
And then they just,
And I will
hey,
say,
kids, come sit on my lap.
I will say my neighbor, he gets dressed up and he rides like in the bed of his truck, and like a bunch of like wives that his wife is friends with, they dress in the elves and they kind of they walk the street and pass things out to the kids.
Yeah. Do those wives later on sit on his lap?
Maybe.
Because I mean, he might have a good gig going on.
Yeah,
Could be. Saying.
So
what
I
do
don't
you
think
have
so.
in your hands right now?
Straight from the barrel.
What do you have?
Straight from the barrel.
Have you guys nosed it or
nothing.
anything? Okay.
So
we can
Brett, she told me they couldn't have kids. So I can see if
Something
you're in
like
that
that.
position, being like, hey, I really like kids. I couldn't have my own.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
think that's
it just
innocent.
depends on how much they say they really like
kids.
Yeah, are they trying to like steal your kids?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and like raise them as their own.
So anyway, I was like,
Do they have any cages in their basement?
I was so taken aback by like I'm just trying to get my kids in the house, and my neighbor is asking me why I never talk to them.
You're like, this is the reason why.
Yeah,
I've been dreading this.
Yeah.
See, you feel this interaction right here?
Yeah.
This is it.
This is uncomfortable for
This
me.
is it.
and I'm like, my kid's in his fucking car seat inside. He's been in there for 10 minutes. Can I go back inside, please? Like,
The fact that you don't have kids and don't understand that
Is
I have
why,
that
yeah.
I have a kid sitting in a car seat in the house right now.
and
waiting
I
for
was
me.
honest. I was like, yeah, I have 2 fucking shit kids.
You're like, I'm busy as fuck.
It's easier to corral them inside than it is outside.
Yeah.
Because the second that I'm outside, my kid wants to take a fucking walk down the street. So it's just easier to be inside. Or out back.
Out back.
Yeah.
Where there's a fence.
Where there's a fence.
Yeah.
I can hurt them.
So this does not smell 133.3 repeating proof.
No. And this has a stronger vanilla to me. This is...
I feel like the gold smelled a little more like robust with vanilla.
Does this have some yeasty, like, baking?
There's a grainy,
like
a grainy,
almost like vanilla cake nose to it, or...
There's like a cake
Like a
note,
cornbread
something cake note,
nose.
cornbread. Like not sweet cornbread, but
yeah,
no, that's in there for me.
that's what she said.
Hey-oh.
So, but besides that, I went to Mexico. Mexico, the food was absolutely unreal.
It always is. It's delicious.
Just unreal.
The nose on this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You think it's better than the gold nose?
I do.
I do.
I think
Man, I like-
think it's like you said. It's almost like a confectionery. There's a confectionery
I get some, like, maybe-
something to it.
I like
Some
some gold
dark-
nose better, but that's me.
Some dark fruit. Any dark fruit in there? I like
Made of gold.
Gold.
Those movies are still funny, and they're how fucking
They
old.
are. So here's a story. On that trip to OKC,
What the fuck is this?
I went Southwest Airlines.
So did you ask Jason why he doesn't have wireless headphones?
I showed him the picture and said that was your response, and he laughed. We didn't really get into it.
I was like, who the fuck has wired headphones?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
The only time I bring him is some of the planes to watch
Yeah, so
a
you
movie.
plug
You
in.
had to plug in, but
Yeah.
that's it.
He was just like plugged into his phone. I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
What are you
That
doing,
is
my
funny.
guy?
But you know what? If my AirPods were dead, I'd use
Sure.
wired, and I have some in my bag still.
Yeah.
But I never use them because I always charge ahead of time. So we're in the Southwest. Okay.
South by Southwest?
Yes. No, we're in the Southwest, flying from OKC to St. Louis, then from St. Louis back to Columbus. So each flight was about an hour and a half. So I'm on the Southwest flight from OKC to St. Louis, and you know how you have free Wi-Fi on the plane if you use their app and use their entertainment services,
Yes.
right?
Which one?
Any of them.
American, not.
Yes,
You have to-
American 100% does.
no, I fly them all the time.
I fly American
They do not
exclusive.
have.
Yes, they do.
You have free
If-
texting. You don't have free Wi-Fi.
You have free Wi-Fi if you use their app.
Wi-Fi and since you can't message,
100%.
but you can like access
Hey,
their media.
Tyler,
Their media,
Tyler,
yes. That's not Wi-Fi.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's not Wi-Fi.
You have to
Wi-Fi
use-
is the internet.
Holy
You
shit.
can access their media.
Tyler,
Yes.
you are showing your ignorance on technology here. You have to use their Wi-Fi to use their media.
Yes.
You don't have access to the internet.
Correct. That's what I thought
But
you,
that's
you were
still
saying
Wi-Fi.
is if you use their
You
app,
don't have
you get
internet
on the
access,
internet.
but you have
Correct.
Wi-Fi.
Yes.
So back to my
United has free texting.
Let the adults talk. So back to my original statement. Southwest does too. I use their Wi-Fi to get on their entertainment.
Yeah.
So I'm on their entertainment app. John Wick 4. I haven't seen it yet. I'm like, sweet. I've got 2 flights to watch this. Hour and a half each. I'll get it done. It's a 2-hour and 30-minute movie. So I start watching it. I'm an hour, 35 minutes in, and I'm like, we land, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'll watch the rest of it on the second flight. Get on the second flight. Get on there. John Wick 4 is not on that Southwest flight. I'm like, what the fuck?
So you watched half the fucking movie? That sucks.
So, like, but here's my question. How the fuck do you put a 2-hour and 30-minute movie on an hour and a half long flight?
They don't give a shit.
No, but here's my question. And not put it on all hour and a half long flights.
Right.
Yeah.
So that most people have connections.
Yeah.
Not every flight is from New York to fucking LA. So you have a 2-hour flight in most cases. Most cases. So if you have a movie that's longer than 2.5 hours long, you need to make it available on every flight. Every flight.
Yeah. That's weird that it wasn't.
So I got onto it and I'm like, what the John Wick 1, 2, and 3 are on here, but where's 4? So I go back to my old tab that I had open and John Wick 4 is sitting there. I'm like, loophole? Question mark. So I click play. This movie is not available. I was like, son of a bitch.
You did talk to Jason on your flight?
We didn't sit together. It was fucking Southwest.
Well, your picture was across from him. So.
That was the one of the 4 flights. I had one time where I was sitting right across the aisle from him. But I'm not a talker on a flight. I don't talk on flights. That's not what I do.
Even if you're sitting next to you?
I don't care.
I wouldn't talk to Jillian
The
either.
only person.
I hope she listens to those.
Trina and I we always sit together on flights, minus the hand imprints she leaves on my arms during the flight. We don't
Is she a nervous flyer?
Oh my
Really?
God!
My mom was always like that growing up.
She gets a prescription of Xanax just for the to and from flights.
I will say I get really annoyed when we are...
Which, by the way, makes her so much easier to handle.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah. So start slipping those in some drinks here and there.
I mean, honest to God,
Vodka
it's
Xanax,
to a point. So what'll happen is there's 4 legs on every, 2 there and 2 back. They'll give her 4. She won't take 4. She'll take 2. And then so she had a little stockpile. When we drove to Destin, she took 1 on the way down and 1 on the way back. And I'm like,
whatever.
Yes.
As long as you're not driving.
She is the worst co-pilot in the history of driving anywhere.
Sure.
Does she like clutch her chest and be like,
she goes, I hate driving at night. I'm like, you're not fucking driving.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the passenger seat. You are doing the opposite of driving.
You're not doing anything.
You're just sitting there.
I fucking hate when women, like, say something happens and it's like someone else runs a red light or does something, but like you're fully aware of the situation.
Oh, right. And she,
yes, and they close, and you're like,
then you shit your pants and slam on the brakes. You're like, what? Right?
I fucking hate that so
my
much.
God. That's 20 times a trip for me. 20 times a trip.
I'm like, good. And then I'm like, God damn it.
I know, because you're about to pull the damn wheel into a bridge abutment.
Oh, jeez.
All right, we got to get back to
Wait,
this.
what movie is that from?
Tommy Boy.
Yes, good call.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, man. You're on top of the movie quotes.
I'm a movie guy.
I know you are, but still, being a movie guy and knowing the quote is 2 different levels.
So I have to.
Let's taste
when
it.
the,
Here comes
when
the
the
meat wagon.
When the plane lands, I have to.
The new
I
guy's
have
in the
to
corner
see
puking his
it.
guts out.
I don't want to just like not be able to see out the window and then all of a sudden, poof. That I don't like. I want to be able to see out the window. So when everyone's got their fucking shades down, the plane's landing, I'm like, why don't you just fucking flip this up?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah,
I can generally tell by feel when we're about to land. Because you're going down, going down, and then all of a sudden it
glides.
There's a glide.
Yes.
And you feel it, and then depending
Where's
on
the pilot when we need him on the show?
Depending on how good the pilot is, it's a boom. Or it's a nice soft landing.
So that's why I look out the window is because I can usually tell by airspeed if we're going a little too fucking fast.
You sound like a physicist over here.
I'm like, I can tell for whatever reason. I'm like, I can tell we're going too fast in this landing, and then it's a bouncy one, or the guy has to fucking slam on the fucking brakes.
So and then your whole body's wanting to go
like,
forward.
So I don't like to just be like,
Right.
my face into the fucking seat.
So I will say one thing I learned about Jason while we were traveling. He is a nervous flyer.
Damn.
Which is probably another good reason why we didn't sit right each other. Good reason that we didn't sit beside each other. Because I'm a very laid back flyer. I don't care.
I just expect to die every time.
I can't sleep on a flight.
I can't either.
The bumps wake me up, and I'm like, but like
it's too uncomfortable.
But I fly very comfortably. I don't. That doesn't bother me.
So this time to Mexico, I flew United.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just United or newer planes a little bit, because some of the American flights I take to Chicago aren't newer planes, so they're definitely they're fucking older. Yeah,
aisle two.
And these were newer. By the way, fuck Houston Airport. Fuck Houston Airport.
You're just over here. I was just making sure.
Fuck Houston Airport.
Houston in general,
Houston
is just a weird ass chain, gas station chain. Like, it's a weird city.
Yeah.
Like every block is like 5 fast food chains and a gas station. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to be done with this, just so you guys know.
Yeah, I know.
We talk about it, unfortunately.
Hey, before you tell this story about Houston, let's drink this.
I'm sorry.
Get a palate, because Brett's going to be done.
I'm going to be done with it. I still have my gold left over too. I'm like kind of comparing.
What do you have left over?
Gold. This does not drink like 133.
Fuck, this
at
is
all.
Good.
At all.
This is good. No wonder you've been pounding this.
Yeah, I've been telling you I need to share it with you because it's fucking
No
good.
wonder I'm going to put my regular Blantons in your leather bag and keep the straight from the barrel. And you won't know the difference
This
until
is
you get home.
133.
It does not taste.
It does not taste.
If you look at the color, I know I say that word weird.
Color.
It's so dark
Add
compared.
a U at the beginning. Color.
We're not in Europe.
No, but that's how you pronounce it. It's color.
I don't.
It's not collar. Collar is what's around your neck.
Color.
It's what it is.
All right. So give us your tasting. This is probably the most Blanton's taste of all the Blantons we've had tonight, in my opinion. Vanilla is fucking just emanating from this
If
thing.
you just imagine the regular Blantons and then multiply it by a 3 in the sense of like the vanilla is amplified and robust.
Right.
And the caramel is amplified and robust.
Robust.
Yeah, robust is
It doesn't get used nearly enough.
It doesn't, no.
It's a great word.
And that's just how it is. It's just like all of those flavors in a Blanton's, but just amplified.
Yeah. I would agree 100% in the sense that this is very, very... This tastes like Blanton's to me, but amplified. This is what I expected from the other 2 bottles, minus the proof. But it is good.
You might kill me, but I might put a drop of water in to see like what comes out of it.
Well, I mean, what you're doing now is you're going to take it back down to regular Blanton's flavor.
Well, I don't think 1 drop's going to take it from 133 to.
Well, in a glass that small, it might. It might take it to 100.
You think 1 little drop?
Well, that's the smallest drop I've ever seen in my life.
That's what she said.
No, I said drop.
There's a drop. There it went.
That was not even. That was like a.
This is what Jason always did.
Yeah, but not that small. There you go.
There
that was
we
a
go.
regular human drop.
Well, I didn't want to finger fuck my cup.
Never know those fingers.
That's kind of what I thought was part on the docket today. I don't know. Watching Brett finger fuck his cup.
I was fisting actually, but
Hey-o. So what do you think? Any difference?
So
is it what is the ASMR? Is that what it is when we get to hear people?
Yeah. For me,
we should
I
do an
feel like
OnlyFans of the bourbon tasting.
Right. ASMR.
Maybe
edition.
that's the way I can make some money.
The caramel just like wow, kind of like.
So it changed.
For me, it did. The caramel just came out like
I'm enjoying this enough that I don't know that I want it to change.
I know, and that's why I was like, it was a tough decision to do because obviously I can't take that drop of water back out.
So real quick,
but I just feel like it amplified that caramel.
Tyler was basically telling us we needed to hurry up and put this bottle on the episode or it was going to be gone.
I can see why.
No, I mean it's good. It's good. It's really good. But look at his bottle.
It's half gone.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
No. Bland's, remember. You think Bland's is almost empty, and you get like 10 more glasses out of it.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
I wanted
It's something about the shape. It's almost like, have you ever seen Hot Shots, the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Where Charlie Sheen lives on the beach. He lives in a trailer, and then you walk in the trailer, and it's like a palace inside. That's what Blanton's bottles are. Blanton's bottles look like a trailer on the outside, but you just keep getting more out of it, and you're like, when is this going to end?
Yeah. I think I just wanted to be able to shelf it for a little bit.
You just wanted to not include Jeff on the episode.
I mean...
We had 2 more bottles we could have included in this episode.
Oh, that would have been too much, I think.
Well,
I think I would have had, like, overload.
There was some prelude to this episode that might have made that the case.
Yeah. I know, I got to work in the morning.
No, you don't. That's not a thing. Especially after Wednesday.
I wish
no more working. You will not have to work after Wednesday when I win the $1.75 billion lottery.
Yeah, dude's got a whole plan.
I've got a plan. I'm going to create a company. You guys are going to come work for me. There'll be contracts in place. We'll have a group insurance policy, so you don't have to worry about insurance. It'll be the highest fucking tier insurance policy you can have.
I mean, we could create... Could you imagine the social media content we could create and then make money off of that, too?
I don't even care about making money after I've made that.
Yeah, but it would still be fun just to, like...
Would you take the lump sum?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course. There's no other way to do it.
Yeah, there is. Right?
No, that's stupid. Doing it, you can make more money taking the lump sum and investing it
sure.
than you would by taking the annuity. That's just dumb. So, question for you: if I win the lottery,
hire Lath.
I would honestly, I would go to Lath immediately.
Yeah,
I would get a lawyer to hide my identity, and then go to a tax person to help me up to set up a business.
Just go to Lath
and then go to Lath to help me make that money turn into something else. If I win the lottery and I offered you $500,000 a year for a 20-year contract, would you take it?
Contract for what?
To just
hand
podcast?
Jobs. Hand jobs.
No.
Well, yeah.
No.
He still says yeah.
Hand jobs would be in the contract, but the main job would be just doing the podcast, going down to the Bourbon Trail, doing something. Like, your job would be bourbon.
Yeah. Why would I say no to that?
I don't know.
First off, it's more than I would make doing anything else.
If your phone rings on Thursday, and it's me, just know that's what's coming. If you don't hear from me on Thursday, I didn't win. Brett?
Obviously, yes.
Okay.
Now, here's a good question.
20 years.
Here's a question.
20-year contract.
If you won the $1 million, now you guys are pretty old, so you're closer to your end date.
Well, there's not $1 million in the bank. I can tell you that.
Your expiration date.
If you won the $1 million, you don't only get... Because that you have to pay 28% in tax, so you get like $600,000.
Yes.
That's not retirement.
That's not retirement. I was gonna say if you got $1 million, would you retire and just live off of?
No, you can't. You can't live off the interest off of $1 million.
Yeah.
And like you said, you wouldn't get
10%.
that. You would lose like 30%.
Sure.
You always lose a third. You know what I mean? Like everything, like taxes, you always lose a third.
Sure.
So I'm not going to turn away $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take it. Trust me.
I wouldn't retire from it.
No, you can't retire from that.
So one thing I have to tell you guys in Mexico that was just wild to me. I actually felt pretty
you
safe.
Could probably retire to Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Go ahead. Mexico.
Mexico. That was
Mexico.
The cheapest food.
Oh, yeah.
But I did my best to explain to them that while America is awesome, and they're like, what do you pay for this? What do you pay for this? And I'm like explaining, and they're like, holy fucking shit. And I'm like, yeah, so while you might make $20 an hour at McDonald's, cool, have rent be $2,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well,
dude, Iceland was expensive.
It didn't used to be like that. That's the...
No.
And here's the other thing. Minimum wage was never intended to be a living wage.
Right.
It was intended to be for people coming through high school,
sure,
working through college, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Minimum wage was for those types of people. Those weren't supposed to be jobs that people are trying to live off of. And that's where the problem has truly become an issue, is because now we're at a situation where a lot of people are having to rely on minimum wage for their actual salaries.
Yeah.
I told dude in the last episode when I was in Iceland, fuel was $10 a gallon. No exaggeration. Like it was $10 a gallon.
I
don't know what Hawaii is like now, but when I was in Hawaii,
Hawaii is bad.
When I was in Hawaii,
my parents were just
on
there.
our honeymoon in 2007. Gas here was like $2 a gallon. It was like almost $6 a gallon in Hawaii.
My parents said every single meal that they had was $100.
Oh yeah, easily.
Every meal, breakfast, $100.
Everything's
lunch,
more expensive.
$100.
So the interesting thing I found out when I was in, this was years ago, 17 years ago. The interesting thing I found out about Hawaii was that they have to pay import taxes on almost everything.
Yeah.
They're in the United States, but when they receive stuff from the U.S., they have to pay an import tax. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
So their pineapples that they grow on the island, they have to pay an import tax for. It
That's
goes,
crazy.
for whatever reason, like for, I don't know, accounting sake, it goes to the U.S. and then comes back to them, even though it doesn't really. But they have to pay like an import tax on that. Sugar, same thing. Jesus. They make sugar and pineapple there.
And they have to pay.
And they have to pay an import tax. So you're not getting pineapple and sugar there cheaper than you would in the continental United States, even though it's grown in that state.
It's crazy.
It's insane. So whoever the governor of Hawaii was, screwed them.
Yeah.
Or
it was Obama when he lived there, and I'm kidding.
or the U.S. Screwed them for some reason. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, they're a U.S. state. Why are we charging them import taxes?
So,
it's nuts.
Guadalajara, they have a mall there that's outside. The restaurants were incredible. Like, it's legitimately, that area was nicer than Easton. Like, it was fucking nice. Where we went to dinner downtown was like...
I heard good things about Guadalajara.
Was like a fucking...
Where is that in relation to, like, Cancun?
It's like the middle of the state.
Yeah, if not on, like, the west side.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like maybe 200 miles from the west coast.
From the west coast.
Yes.
Inland.
But that's tequila...
So you were closer to the west coast than the east
tequila
coast.
area. So
where Guadalajara is?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a lot of, like, Don Julio's there and all that
stuff. Did you have any mezcal?
Not that I remember.
They didn't try to push mezcal on you or anything?
No, not that I remember.
Up here, it's a big thing. That's
that
all.
bottle that I sent you was the only tequila I had.
Really?
And I drank bourbon the rest of the time.
What was the brand?
And even this, I was told, is not great because there's additives.
Yeah.
And
God, this straight from the barrel is okay.
It's okay.
Hold on. So, but like the restaurant we ate at, there was, they made and they ground and pressed their own tortillas. They had a guacamole cart. So this lady came around and was like, "Do you want guacamole?" Yep. And she made fresh guacamole at her cart by your fucking table. It was unreal. The torta I had there was incredible. The food was just unreal. And then when I went to San Luis Potosí, like, we did something like they had a there is I had obviously my perception, but there's areas of both cities that were incredibly nice, just like any normal U.S. city. And then you definitely drove in some areas like I watched one guy riding on a fucking little moped with his 3 daughters.
They're all on the moped at the same time.
Yeah. All on it with him, too. No helmets.
Did I ever tell you about when I was in Bali? Like, you'd have 5 people on a moped, and they'd be holding their groceries. So you'd have like the father, and then there would be like a kid in front of the father, and then a kid behind the father, then the mother, and then a kid behind the mother, and they'd all be holding grocery bags.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
So this was Casa Dragones Tequila Blanco.
Oh yeah, that's.
But it was cool driving through that area, all of the agave fields. That was really cool.
Agave
so
interesting.
On the drive, one of the wildest things to me is the very nice highway. Like, it wasn't like driving through shithole after shithole. You know what I mean? It was a 3.5 hour drive.
If you're outside of Cancun and Riviera Maya and all that stuff, the cities outside of the resorts are third world countries.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Guadalajara, there was definitely those areas, but also incredibly nice, and I was very shocked. But anyway, on my drive, they have a wider shoulder, and anyone that's driving slower drives on the shoulder. Like, you just drive off the road.
It is interesting how the etiquette.
Yes.
Driving etiquette's different.
And even on the other side of the road, you drive off the road as well. And you pass in the middle like you would in the U.S.
Yeah.
But the people on the other side, like us, if you're passing, you're like, you better get the fuck over quickly. Where they're already driving off the road, and
Right.
and you pass in the middle while someone's fucking driving on. So we were
and
at
they
one
don't
point
get irritated with each other
No.
either,
Nope.
because there's like a law of the land that people just follow. It's unwritten. They just follow it.
Yes.
It
If
is
they don't get
interesting.
irritated, they're not like, oh, what are these fucking assholes? Everyone passes each other. So we were behind a semi that was passing a semi, and we were in the middle. So we were in the middle behind a semi that was passing a semi while there was a semi coming at us. I was just like, holy fucking shit, is this sketchy?
Yeah.
I was in a
though.
2-lane highway.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like,
Right.
what the fuck?
Not to derail this conversation, but do any of you guys deal in Bitcoin at all?
No.
No.
I'm telling you right now, now's the time to buy.
Why?
It's going in the next
So
12 to 18 months. It's going to go up by 5 times.
it peaked.
It's going
and
to.
then it.
Right now is the time to buy it.
But here's the thing.
If you buy it now, in the next 12 to 18 months, you're going to make
What's the
5 times your
price?
money. I don't know what the price is right now.
So to even have, let's say you had one and it's like 25 grand, and you multiply it, and
I don't think it's that expensive right now.
you don't think?
I
don't
bet
think
you it's
so.
13 grand or more.
It might
for
be around there.
A bit for a
So
single
you
Bitcoin.
buy one, and it went up 5 times, and I get that that's a better return than you would
Get
anything
on most
else.
anything else.
Yes. But at the end of the day, like, especially people buying Bitcoin at like 50,000, and they're like, well, it's going to go to 100. And it's like, okay, well, you doubled your money, and you could do that in the stock market.
Well, I guess it's actually worth
$27,000.
$27,443
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
up to.
But imagine
What is your reason for it?
I have a cousin. He was actually highlighted in I think it was the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, one or the other. He's a day trader. He was a teacher. Was worth millions of dollars from day trading.
Yeah.
And then some stuff happened in the market. He still was way up,
Sure.
but because of the way tax laws were set, he ended up owing like $500,000.
Yeah, I had a buddy like that
even
too.
though he was up millions,
Yes.
he ended up in the hole like $500,000.
Yes.
Had to basically declare bankruptcy, all that stuff. So if you look up, I think it's Forbes or New York Times or Wall Street Journal or something. If you just look up the phrase, the fall of the day trader, I think that's what it was. The fall of the day trader. His name is Craig Mazeska. He'll come up in that article.
Yeah,
That's my cousin.
I had an acquaintance.
He's a former Marine who became a teacher. I think he's now like a principal or a superintendent or something like that of a school.
Okay.
But he basically had to declare bankruptcy, and he was like living high on the hog based on his investments. And then something happened where that changed, and then he ended up owing tons of money.
Damn.
And but anyway, he still follows the stuff. He doesn't day trade like he used to because of that reason now, for the taxes and stuff that they implemented on day traders.
Sure.
They screwed over day traders big time with the taxes.
Yeah, my again, that acquaintance, he was a millionaire, like had $1 million off day trading. Lost a bunch of it, but then even after that loss, still owed hundreds of thousands.
That's what happened. That's what happened to him.
Yeah.
So
Because he had to pay the taxes on what he made, but he didn't get to basically
Write off what he
off what he lost.
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Something about the capital gains and all that stuff. So anyway, he's one of those guys that's listed. They wrote a whole story about him, basically. And anyway, it's a Wall Street Journal. It was called Millionaire for a Moment, and it's basically about him. It's called One Investor Made Big Gains but Nearly Lost It All. That's the article.
So get to why. I mean, did he drop some hints that it's going to? Or?
Yes. He says that it's basically if you have the ability right now, buy some Bitcoin right now. He follows this stuff still to this day. And even though he doesn't do it like he used to, he still has a lot of his information and knows some stuff.
Okay.
You just said
Do
buy Bitcoin now.
Do you want to wrap this?
So I'm probably
piece
going
up?
to
Yep. We're at an hour and 20 minutes. So let's what do we conclusion?
So, I mean, obviously, I think the straight from the barrel is phenomenal. I mean, the gold
100% agree.
The gold is pretty close.
I don't think it's pretty close.
I think the gold is really good.
I think it's good, but
Yeah.
I think the straight from the barrel is phenomenal.
Yeah. And
Big difference.
I only say
Phenomenal.
that because of the proof. Like,
Yeah, but that's a
Yeah.
huge part of it. Like we talk about this all the time with bourbon. You take the same cask and you just lower it and lower it and lower it, and at some point you find an amazing
sure.
taste point.
Yeah.
I feel like this straight from the barrel is that. It is that right now.
Do you think it's a daily drinker, though?
No.
I mean-
I don't.
I feel like if the gold
If I
was
had it every
accessible,
single. Yeah.
if the gold was accessible, it could be
Listen,
like a great
if
daily
the straight
drinker.
from the barrel was accessible, I would drink it daily.
I don't know that I would.
I
think
I
the
don't
gold,
care that it's
the gold would
133.
be a daily drinker for
I'm
me.
not
Yeah.
gonna, I'm not going to have two of them a night. I'd
Yeah.
have one.
Yeah.
I'd have one and
I think
sip
that's
it
what we.
slowly.
I think that's what we mean by a daily drinker. That you
Multiples
can.
in an evening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, in that sense, I would say yes. Gold, sure. Gold
Yeah.
The gold is
of this lineup, the gold would be the most daily drinker. But I would drink that straight from the barrel
I mean,
daily.
I think straight
Yeah.
from the barrel is like a clear winner in this, right? I don't think
Yeah.
any of us are saying that it's bad,
overall, yes,
but it's also it's a very like unique. It's a very
very high proof.
Very
Yeah.
high. Yes,
Yeah.
this was fun. I enjoyed this.
Was. It's good night.
Hey, one word on the count of three. We're all going to say it. 3, 2, 1.
Puss
Blantons.
Oh. I think that's.
You're such an asshole. Thanks, guys. See you next week. Thank you for joining us on yet another hunt for great bourbon. Please give us a 5-star review anywhere you are listening. But if you can't, leave some constructive criticism in the review so that we can get better at improving our show. Good reviews help us bring better guests on for your listening pleasure, not mine. But until then, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon.